let's start this one. Where am I at? Let me get to
Maryjo's first date.
Let me go a little bit before the lamb injections.
I'm so excited. Finally, JD Shackelford. Finally.
Yay! Okay. Hey, girl!
Good afternoon, Miss Mims. How are you today?
I am fantastic, Auntie Maim. Noire. Every time I say it, she makes a face, and I love it.
Using my married name. Using
your married name because you're a married old hag.
I'm trying to be an independent woman.
And how's that working for you?
It's not. It hurts, actually. My knee hurts today. That's how it is today. But hello, listeners. Welcome to Baking Sugar, the Designing Women podcast. We are glad that you are here having fun with us. We have started getting into starting the actual folklore of the show. We're no longer on from opening episodes.
It's true. I am the divinemissmims. With me is Auntiemaim. Could you hear that?
I hate you.
Why do you hate me? Yeah, we are actually, 4 episodes in now. Is this 4?
Yeah, we're on episode 5 today.
Oh, we're on episode 5. That's right. We're recording extras. My mind is going crazy. And it's actually finally starting to get a little bit of rhythm, and they're starting to know each other.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. So episode 5 for everybody that's following along is Maryjo's first date. November 3rd, 1986. We always like to give a little bit of date context. So this would be basically our first year in elementary school.
Did you say November 3rd?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. No, this is our second year.
Is this second 86?
Yeah, we've gone 85, 86.
Oh, so this would be November.
Yeah. So this is
So
we would have been in first grade.
First grade.
Were we in the same first grade class? No, we weren't.
No, I had Mrs. I forgot her name because she got married halfway through our year.
No, we didn't. I had a much older person that.
Yeah,
I've got a question for you. When you were in first and second grade, did you have to have the styrofoam box put around you so you wouldn't talk to people?
No.
Oh, see, I finished my work so fast that I would just get done and leave it there and just start talking to the person beside me.
No, I mean, I would get in trouble for talking, but our teacher never resorted to that. So she would just me, I don't like getting in trouble. So we would always just do the name on the board, and and as soon as that happened, I was like, I'm gonna get in trouble.
There was this time in 6th grade, I got my name on the board with 3 checks and a plus. I was like, what is I even looked at her, she was writing up there, I was like, what is a plus? I'm obviously not going to do anything. It was a substitute. I'm not going to do anything. What is this? What is a plus? And she just looked at me and blinked. And that was that.
I'm Julia Sugarbakers. I'm Julia Sugarbakers. I'm Julia Sugarbakers. I'm Julia Sugarbakers. And that's Marjorie. Just so you will know, and your children will someday know, is the night the lights went out in Georgia. The lights went out, the lights went out, the lights went out, the lights went out. And that is the night the lights went out in Georgia.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Well, now you do.
So Maryjo's first date!
I'm so excited. One of my favorite characters is arriving today, so I'm so excited.
Let me turn my lamp a little bit more toward me so I can read. Ooh, my God, that's bright. Woo! So, the first thing I notice is that Meshach Taylor's still not here.
Still not here. It's episode 5 at this point. He's still not here. So
somebody needs to send a search party out for him. He's probably still unfortunately incarcerated at this point.
I think so. I mean, I have to admit, I have been a bit like surprised because I was like, man, is it really this far into the first season before he shows up? And
does he? I wonder if he shows up in the first season.
No,
like
he's in the first season.
Okay.
Like, but it's I don't know. Like I looked ahead at a couple of the episodes and I was like, oh, do we actually get to see like, you know, Bernice before we get to see Meshach Taylor? Like what? But yeah, like Bernice's introduction's in like 2 episodes. Yeah.
Okay. So we're at Sugar Bakers.
Sugar Bakers.
And they're cleaning up everything. Like there's dust everywhere.
Inventory day.
And like Maryjo gets some dust on Suzanne, and Maryjo's like, well, I told you to wear your grubbies.
I wrote that down too. I was like grubby?
I have not ever, apparently I have because I've seen this episode, but I've never actually heard somebody use that word before.
No, not out in the wild.
And Suzanne makes a little joke like, you won't see me in one of those designer jeans with the name on the butt. It's like Julia, and Julia is in some nice jeans. Like those are...
Yeah, they were nice.
They are... What was her name? Gloria...
Vanderbilt.
Those are some Vanderbilt jeans.
Yeah, they look like it.
Yeah, they are high-waisted and big-assed and look fantastic.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was funny, though, because, like, so I actually wrote this part down where Julia, obviously, she's talking about Suzanne's weight. She said, Suzanne, if you had a label on your jeans, that would have the designer's name, the bylaws of the ILGWU, and several choruses of Look for the Union label. So...
So I didn't know whether that was a dig at her weight or just at her big butt. Okay.
No, it was a dig at her weight, right?
Okay.
Like, but I did a little research, right? Because you know me, I love nerding out. So I actually looked up the ILGWU. So what that was a ladies International Ladies Garment Workers Union. It was started in the 1900s. And I thought it was really interesting because like they were basically part of like the suffragette movement and workers' rights movements. But they actually dissolved in 95 because they merged with the Union of Needle Threads, Industrial, and Textile Employees. So that's probably why people might have never heard of them now, because they, you know, for like 25 years now, they've actually been part of a bigger union.
Well, and you know what? If only you, a seamstress of one, could unionize, you know, but you got nothing to blame for your poor conditions besides yourself.
I can blame my husband. I can blame
you got
my
nobody
husband.
to blame besides yourself. So Maryjo's having a lot of fun. She is just loving this cleaning like a crazy person. And let me just tell you, her grubby outfit is... I don't know what that is. Like yeah.
I didn't like it. I didn't like that outfit at all. I was like, here's the thing about Maryjo's character is like every episode, it's like the designers just they brainstorm. How can we make her look worse? Yeah. Like, let's take last week and let's make it even worse, because there's an outfit she wears even later for that first date that I was like, what in the name?
So, but her hair is super cute. Yeah. Like, her hair looks great.
Yeah.
And she looks like some sort of a frumpy kindergarten teacher from the 80s.
I just didn't, I mean, honestly, I was very, like, disheartened by her outfit this time. I was like, man, can you guys just give her a bone or something? Like, Julia's walking around in, like, hot mom jeans, and she's like, what?
So Suzanne looks at her and says, well, you basically need to reassess your life, girl, because this is not fun. And then Charlene asks her what she did last night. And it was draw the presidents. Abraham Lincoln has the biggest face, if you ever need to know that. And like a laundry list of really boring things.
You know, it's funny. So obviously, listeners, if you've been listening to every episode, you'll know that when we first started on season 1, Miss Mims designated me as the Maryjo of the group, and this episode made me feel like, dang it, if you weren't accurate.
Keep in mind that right now, Auntie Maim is wearing a t-shirt and has her hair up. It is curly and up in a little bun on the top of her head. Yeah.
And I'm probably going to be cleaning for fun later.
Is it? Are you wearing your grubbies? Is that what this is?
I'm not wearing my grubbies, but I mean, like, I am a very much a t-shirt kind of gal when I'm home, because I just never know when I'm going to be cleaning. Because if I just have the right impulse at the right moment, I'm gonna jump into like right now. I literally was like, I really have to go organize the garage. Like, watching this episode again this morning, I was like, I really need to do that because right now it's like we have a good window for that because it's not hot. It's like just mildly warm because of like winter. And so you basically have like a 3-month window of time that if you want to get things done in your garage, you do it, because otherwise it's the surface of hell. And so I keep putting it off. I'm like, I'm going to do it this week. And I'm running out of time. And I feel like the vampire with the sun rapidly coming at me. I'm like, I got to get this done or I'm not going to get it done at all for the next 8 months.
Well, Charlene decides to agree with Suzanne that Maryjo may need a little bit of extra dating in her life.
Boy, I was shocked. I was like, oh my God. Right? But, she's got Mason, so now she's in love mode.
And so Julia brings up that Newsweek says that anyone over 30 has no chance of getting married. It was in time to. And then Suzanne says she doesn't remember this. She must have been in Tijuana getting those lamb injections. And so I had to Google that, right? Like, I was like, what are lamb injections? So I tried 1980s lamb injections, 1980s Tijuana lamb injections. I could come up with 2 things.
Okay.
One, there was a treatment that was fetal lamb cells that they would inject for youth. And the other one was using lamb fat as collagen to plump you. So neither one of these may have actually ever been a thing. Like, this is just what I found in Google out there. So who knows what the hell Suzanne was talking about.
If you are a plastic surgeon that hears this episode and you were practicing in the 1980s, you can tweet us. Give them your Twitter, honey. What's your Twitter?
At divinemissmims.
Yeah, or you can send me a private Instagram message at auntie-maim. Also, I'll take endorsements and solicitations as well from plastic surgeons. I am 41 now, so I will be starting to shop around.
Your skin is still fierce. Like, you are just twink. Not when you do that.
It's the anxiety. It's the anxiety, girl.
Just all that sweat keeps your skin moist.
Yeah.
So, Julia mentions that she's over 35, and if she wanted to get married right now, she could. And so
this joke.
Charlene says, well, according to this, you're more likely to be killed by a terrorist. To which Julia says, I think the fellow who wrote that has a very good chance of being killed by a feminist.
That's right.
So have you ever heard of this report before?
I remembered in the 80s.
Okay.
It's really funny that I remember that this was a big deal.
So this is a very debunked report. Newsweek has actually put out a formal retraction on this.
Wow.
It still stands in our zeitgeist. The Atlantic in 2016 did a little blurb about this. It's been in New York Times before, but basically Newsweek grabbed data from an unpublished study that was retracted afterwards and put it out there for the world. So it has remained in our zeitgeist because as The Atlantic put it, it kind of feels like it should be true. Not that it is true in any stretch of the imagination, but it feels like it should be true. That older women won't get married because men find them unattractive. Right?
Yep.
It's disgusting is what it is.
Yep. I mean, it's funny though, because I think that I remember that mid-'80s time, like when my mom worked at the hospital, and like there were genuine women that were like approaching 30 that thought like, that's it. I'm not married yet. Especially these ladies, a lot of them were nurses, so they went after their degrees first, and they were like, what am I going to do? I'm not going to be able to get married. I was just like, I mean, when you look back on it now and you think about the level of education for most women and how a lot of them don't even
Yep.
start looking into that, it's so crazy that was a thing at a point that like women were genuinely scared about.
There is actually an issue in China right now. This is kind of the other side of the thing, because China for the longest time decided to have more males than females, and now in China women are waiting to get married and have children. There's potentially in the next 60 to 100 years it's going to be bad. They may have societal collapse because they don't have enough
humans,
like
wow.
women, specifically women, to just do anything.
Well, I mean, it's like
potentially, like that's all. 1,600 years is all.
That's all.
Who knows?
Who knows where we'll be then? Probably not in a good place.
Probably still watching Designing Women because we haven't gotten to the last season yet.
We've not gotten through the first season yet.
So going back to that, Suzanne's like, I don't like it when you get on your all's high horses, blah, 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 blah. And Charlene, I'm surprised at you. And Charlene says, well, I picketed when Cher didn't win for the mask.
I mean, didn't we all? I thought we all did. What's great though about this though? I really like
Moonstruck is a fantastic movie.
No, that's what I mean. Like, I love that about this joke is because this was 2 years before Moonstruck. So like, this was before Cher even won her Oscar. Yeah, right. Which is like,
was it?
Yeah, Mask was like young Cher acting. Like, I didn't like that movie. It was too like it was a lot.
Which one did you not like? Moonstruck
Mask.
No, Mask. It's because, and I think it actually did win a makeup award, but it's rough. Most of it's because he's not that great of an actor. The kid. Anyway, This is not a Mask podcast.
This is not. We could do one, but we're not going to.
So now, no, we wouldn't. So now, we're off to Maryjo's, whose house looks surprisingly a lot like Suzanne's. I won't be able to keep them straight, but whatever.
I was like, wow, you did good in the divorce, apparently, because your house is really nice.
Oh, no, we aren't at Maryjo's. I'm sorry. I put back to Maryjo. I thought we'd gone to her. No, Suzanne's going to set her up. And
I'm
Maryjo
so excited.
Says no. So now we're at the next day at Sugar Baker's. And Charlene got a little letter from Ed McMahon.
Yep. Oh.
Auntie Maim, explain what the Publishers Clearinghouse is to the children out there.
Oh, I'm so glad you did let me do that. So, back in the day, kids.
Back in the day,
there was the Publishers Clearinghouse. I'm familiar with it because my auntie was obsessed with it. So basically, every few months, you'd get a mailer that had a list of all of these magazines. And if you subscribe to said magazines, you would be entered into basically a giant raffle, and you might win millions of dollars. And they had people holding big checks to prove that you could win millions of dollars.
Right.
The face of the campaign was by the lovely Ed McMahon, who was the sidekick to Johnny Carson, who back in that time period, that was basically like a major celebrity.
That's not all Ed McMahon did. What else he do? Star Search, girl. Star Search.
I know. Star Search. Anyway, Star Search was okay. Okay, hold on. Let me just say this. Star Search for me had the same problems as American Idol. All of the people of color had to be 1,000 times more talented than their white counterparts in order to get that 4 stars. When our very own Beyonce Knowles and her little girls went on Star Search, and they should have been the winners, somehow they didn't even get past the first round. And I go back to say one more time, people of color had to be beyond exceptional in order to do well in there, whereas the little white people, including the stand-up comics, they didn't have to do anything other than stand up there, and almost all of them would get 4 stars. So that's how I feel about Star Search. I've said my piece. Back to the Publishers Clearinghouse. So what Charlene was talking about for the context of a joke is that you could also enter into the sweepstakes, but you had to check off a little box saying that you didn't want to subscribe to any of the magazines, you just wanted to be in the contest. So that's why Charlene said she felt guilty, because you didn't have to. But it was really funny when they said that, because, man, it took me back to, like, sitting there with my auntie while she was, like, going through it, deciding which magazine she was going to get that time.
The way you would subscribe to magazines where they had these little stamps, and you would lick the stamp and put it on the thing. They were great. Like, I used to play with the stamps as a kid. Like, it was a sheet.
A sheet of magazines.
Huge sheet of little stamps with all these random-ass magazines on them.
Yeah, I always was... my auntie we'd always do the same 2 magazines, Ebony and Jet. Every single time. Ebony magazine and Jet magazine. That's how my family rolled.
My family was McCall's and Highlights, because I like Highlights.
Yes, girl, yes.
So Suzanne comes in.
Yes.
And, like, starts talking to Maryjo and goes through this long story. And Charlene stops after Suzanne says the word quiche.
Quiche.
And Charlie was like, my parents went to this restaurant one time, and they ordered a quiche, and they called it a quickie. Can you believe?
She screamed. She, like, thought that was, like, the funniest thing ever.
And Suzanne is, I believe the term's nonplussed. And looks at her like, well, thank you for interrupting me, but she's going to be setting up Maryjo with one J.D. Shackelford.
J.D. Shackelford is finally here. Sorry, America. Sorry, rest of the world. I love J.D. Shackelford a lot.
He's the head scout for the Atlanta Braves, which at that time was not racist. It wasn't until the 90s that it became racist, apparently. And he's recently divorced. Maryjo says, no. But thank you. Because divorced men are horrible. And having known a few divorced men in my day, they are horrible people. Like, recently divorced men think it's their right just to F everything they can.
I don't know a lot of, like, recently divorced men.
Did you not know them when you were young? Like all the dads who were divorced that just
I never knew whose parents were divorced.
Oh, okay.
Like I mean, like yours I knew about, but like I never knew like whose parents were together or not together. Because remember, like we didn't see parents that often, right? Like the only time we ever saw parents was like when they were like substitute teachers because they were women with college degrees that wanted to do more than just sit at home.
It's true. And that's one of them that wrote me up in that 6th grade class. So now we're at Maryjo's house.
Yes.
Now we have switched to Maryjo's house. And she's getting ready for the date with Suzanne and Charlene.
So can I tell you a little fun thing that I was hoping that we'd come across something like this. Do you know that I have a sewing pattern that's very similar to the dress Maryjo has on? I found it in like a place in their vintage pattern section.
Oh, it's so ugly.
Yeah.
With that little frill. My husband, who's watching this with me, looked at me after he saw that and said, why does Maryjo, actually did not say Maryjo, he's like, why did Annie Potts let them put a doily on her shoulders in every single dress?
Yeah. Yeah. The struggle was real.
It was real.
I mean, I would never. I had debated if I'd ever make anything with that, and I was like, you know what? I might. if I could find the right material, I might make something out of that. You know, because it definitely has like a very strange Little House on the Prairie vibe.
Well, as they're getting ready, Suzanne looks at her and says, "You know, you can rub some Vaseline on the front of your teeth to help you smile." And Maryjo said, "Well, now, Suzanne, when I don't want to smile,
I just don't
smile."
Which I was like, "Oh wow, that's true. I guess you could do that." Because I'm in the same boat as Suzanne. I'm always like the one smiling, just to put the guard down. So when she said it, I was like, "Oh wait, I guess you could do that. Oh, that's actually not a bad idea."
You don't have to smile all the time. It hurts.
I know. No, I know.
Okay. So Julia then enters, and we find out that the IRS is auditing, and that Julia insults the auditors. So they keep adding to the bill. Oh God.
Yep, and I think as I wrote it down, I wasn't insulting them, and she said to them, as I quote, she called them money whoring, cash sucking cretins.
Yes.
And according to Julia, that's not an insult.
That's just a little fun to get it started.
She actually said it like, "Oh no, this is me showing levity." Okay. Yeah. Money whoring, cash sucking cretins. I definitely get the levity there.
So then they all leave Maryjo alone.
Oh, you forgot about the quarter girl. You forgot about the quarter.
That's right.
So
why did I put that there? Anyway, go ahead.
So Julia, she leaves Maryjo a quarter, and she says that back in the day, tradition dictated that their mother would give them a nickel just in case any man got fresh. And then, as wont to do, she theorizes that I think that Suzanne never used her nickel to make a phone call. In fact, she saved so many nickels that they paid for her trip to Europe.
Uh-huh.
Boy, oh boy.
And Suzanne just says, "Oh, stop, Julia."
I know. I was like, "Where's the fire this time? Like, come on! Like, she just called you like a you know what right there."
Well, if you see siblings like that, eventually one is like, usually they banter back and forth. And this is one of the few episodes I will say that Suzanne and Julia have been going back and forth like sisters. But this is like, it's late at night, I'm just done, right?
Yep, that's true, actually. That makes a lot of sense when you think about it under that. Like, it was late at night at that point.
Yeah.
Oh.
So then they leave, and all of a sudden, for some reason, the theme song starts playing as interstitial music, and I was like, "What? Why are they playing the theme song?" I don't. Anyway,
why is there background music?
And
why is there background music?
And then Maryjo starts talking to herself in the mirror. What?
Oh my God, you have the mirror. You're going to do it.
No, I'm not. Because it is too much of a mess.
I thought, once again, though, right, as a person who does talk to himself very often, when that happened, I was like, gosh darn it, that's me again. Because I've done that many, many times also.
And she's like boosting herself up in the mirror and calling herself a sex pot. And JD Shackleford just walks into this house like, yes, the door's ajar a little bit, but just walks
she did say his name. So maybe he thought like that she was calling to him, and then he opened the door. He was like, "What did I walk in?" I mean, I'm just speculating at this point, but she did call his name out.
It's true. Well, then we cut to a quick commercial, and then we come back.
That weird commercial. Oh my gosh, such a weird commercial. And we come back, and they just finished their date.
Yes, and we learned that JD drives a DeLorean, which you guys may know from Back to the Future. Yes, that was a real car. There weren't that many made. And the owner of that car, company, went to jail because he had all of the cocaine.
All of it.
All just all of Colombia's cocaine was in his house.
Yep. He had enough cocaine that it could have powdered the slopes for the year.
That's exactly right. So they sit down, and JD really quickly starts trying to put the moves on Maryjo, like uncomfortably. Like,
wait! We forgot though. We forgot to tell the audience, where does he get the name JD from?
Oh, James Dean.
Oh, you mean like the actor?
No, the sausage guy.
Yeah.
My family really liked his music.
Our family did too when he said that. I was like, oh my God, I forgot Jimmy Dean was a singer.
Oh, God.
Love it.
So he gets fresh. He kisses her in the most uncomfortable way. But good on her for in the 80s pushing him off and saying, stop it.
She pushed him off aggressively too.
She did too. So she explains, this is a lot. And I hope you understand. And he says he does. And he jets.
He just runs out the door. I mean, I will say though, she probably shouldn't have called herself corroded, because that to me was like, I can see putting yourself down out of a sense of whatever, but she literally called herself, I am completely corroded. That's literally what she said. I was like, wow.
Yeah. They probably make an ointment for that.
Probably. I mean, I would have it at this point, but so once again, as Maryjo was saying what she was saying, I was like, I remember feeling like that. I remember between my last relationship and my current, I remember having that feeling of, oh my goodness, this is not going to go well.
So you were never the type to, sow a couple wild oats in between relationships.
I didn't. I am way too much like Maryjo Shively in a lot of ways. And it's really funny when you say it like that. I was like, boy, I was like Maryjo Shively. I tried. I was like, I'll try this. Apparently, I should go and try to make a list of lovers to develop over whatever period of time it's going to be until I actually can find someone, if that ever happens again. And it was not a good time for me. I just didn't do well with it.
The thing is, and what I learned over time is, you don't need a list of lovers. You just need one or two that you don't care about.
I know, but that's my problem, right? That's the problem, is that I would be. So wait, so pause, ladies and gentlemen, just for a minute. This is obviously going to go into a little off topic. So I had my first relationship. There was no such thing as a dating app, right? Yeah. Then I got into my second relationship. There was still no such thing as a dating app. By the time that person dumped me, I was ushered into a new era of dating and things like that. And for those that don't know America, most gays don't really go on dates first. It's just a fact. It's not us being funny or campy or salty. They just really don't. And I thought that I'd be getting these apps up and be like, oh, cool, I'm going to make friends and have dates. That's not what people wanted. And so when I kind of figured that out and people were wanting me to just come to their place, I was just like, why don't we just meet out for a drink? And then no one would respond to me. So I did have a few responses, and, that stuff was there. It was there. So then I thought, maybe I'm supposed to not be like this, and I should probably be faster. And but it just didn't work for me. I just didn't do well with it. So my Maryjo Shively references that you keep hearing Eric make, the divine Miss Mims that has known me from the time I was basically born, they're actually very accurate.
So we're back at Sugar Bakers, and the new auditor comes in. It's Ray Don Simpson,
y'all. So, audience, if you don't remember who Ray Don Simpson is, You need to go back and listen to another episode for
The very first episode. He is an uncomfortable older man who likes to drink tiki drinks at the Japanese steakhouse.
Yep.
And approach single women. So Charlene recognizes him. It takes her a minute, and like Julia brings him inside, sits him down, and like Charlene
tells a dirty joke. Dirty joke.
Hold on, and then Julia looks at him like offers him tea, coffee, and then asks if he would like to have care to have sex with anyone there, and he's like, funny woman, I appreciate this. And then Charlene's finally like, enough, pulls her to the side, into the back room, and Charlene explains who he is. And I dare say Gene Smart does the best Dixie Carter impersonation right there. Like, she gets the tone and gets the voice. It goes through the whole speech.
Yeah, I actually will say it's really funny because I realized after she did her speech that every time I've ever heard it in my head since, it's actually Charlene's version of Julia doing it.
Yeah.
Because when we rewatched it, and Julia did it, I was like, this doesn't sound like I sounded in my head. And I realized it's because Charlene's version is the one that embedded itself on my brain.
So comedy then ensues. Like, this is good sitcom comedy. Julia's like, we'll be fine as long as we don't look at him head on. So they all go in sideways. Even Suzanne, who was not there, is walking in sideways. She takes Ray Dawn upstairs and is explaining, I cannot be near any artificial light. My eyes are allergic to it. So we're going to go upstairs to my private office where it's dark. And she's like putting her hand beside her face as she's walking up the stairs slowly.
It's so uncharacteristic of her. It was like, that's what made it just amazing. It was like, this is a completely new side of her that we're now getting to see.
So they're upstairs. Maryjo comes in, and I want to say right here, I noticed something. Maryjo is now dressed 1,000 times better than she has been in this entire.
Oh yeah,
like she's wearing a floor-length skirt, something really cute. She's not wearing any kind of frills, really. Suzanne asks her about the date. Didn't go good, Suzanne.
No,
didn't go good.
What did she say? You look rested. It couldn't have been that good.
And then there's a little at the door. And who is it? J.D. Shackelford. And he is there to apologize.
Oh, my heart.
He was just trying to impress her. Like, I don't know how trying to force yourself on a woman is impressing her.
Well, remember, that was the 80s where, like, they thought that's when we started getting, like, toxic masculinity really started coming back to the surface. So they just like they made women think that they weren't going to get married past 30, they made men think that the only way you were going to get a woman is by being overly aggressive.
It's true. So they talk for a minute, and he invites her to have movie and a pizza date.
He's got 3 kids.
He does have 3 kids.
Mm-hmm. They sound very young. They sound really young.
Yeah, because he's got a baby
seat in the
back.
Yeah.
And he gives her an Atlanta Braves hat. Oh, it's so cute. And he leaves. And Charlene and Suzanne gush.
Yes.
Just gush.
And then
coming downstairs,
Babushka Sugar Baker.
I have it written in her sunglasses and kerchief.
I wrote down Babushka Sugar Baker. That's what I wrote down.
Is they're talking about how good the audit went, and they're slowly coming down the stairs, and she opens the door and she's showing him out, and then she says as she's closing the door, I'd want to thank you, Ray Dawn. And he just busts in, I know who you are.
I thought that was a really good cutoff point.
It was. Well, and then you go to credits, and then you see Maryjo and JD making out.
I was like, this is like, that's not how this should have ended. Like, that's not how this should have ended. Because that was the perfect ending. We didn't need to know, like, the prequel, how Maryjo got her groove back. Like, we didn't need to see that. But it was, I don't know. It's almost like, it's like that thing that this show does, like, sometimes, where, like, just when you think that they are at their hilarious peak, they always throw some random, like, heartwarming thing in.
Well, you know, I think that other shows, like, I believe SNL at the time, and still to this day, has that problem where they're funny. They found their stop, but they need to go that one little second more that just drains some of the funny out, right? Like,
yeah. I will say, though, I guess it was cute, right? Like, seeing the pizza box, seeing all of that stuff. It's like, oh, it's like reinforcing, oh, maybe her life won't fall apart. She actually found a man.
Yeah. So, did you like the episode?
This is actually, I mean, obviously, we know that I'm very biased about J.D. Shackelford, so this being his introduction, of course, I really like this episode. But I also like the fact that we got to see some repercussions for Julia's behavior, which is like my favorite thing. What did Suzanne say? This is what you get for walking around acting like you're the Terminator. Yeah. Like, I was like, that's actually true, right? Because she, you know, as you'll see in the show as it continues going, this happens a lot, right? Yeah. Like, she explodes a lot. But it's kind of fun because they gave us an early, like, oh, sometimes things come back to bite her, right? Yeah. It doesn't stop her, but, you know, sometimes it comes back to bite her. So, yes, this goes into my I really love this episode column. So, yeah, that's where I am. How did you feel about it?
This is probably the first episode that is truly well comedically written. Like, I will say, except for I like the J.D. Shackelford stuff, don't get me wrong, but like comedy wise, just that last little bit is so good. Like, it is, they got their groove, all of them. They all had their perfect, from the moment that Charlene does the speech, actually from the moment she's trying to get her to the back room to the end where Ray Don leaves.
Yep.
It is just, the timing is dead on, and they got it finally, and I'm so happy. And it feels good.
This felt like the first true Designing Women episode.
Right, yes. Absolutely.
Like, everyone before that, there were pieces that were like it, but they weren't fitting together. This was the first time that it all kind of fit together.
Right.
Who's your Miss Georgia World this time?
So my Miss Georgia World, thank you for asking, is Suzanne comes in at one point. She's wearing this black, white, and gray poncho that, like, is multi-layered, and she looks like the witch from Into the Woods. Like, it's something that she would wear. And up underneath, she's got a bright red sweater. I love it as long as she has the poncho on. The minute it comes off, the sweater's kind of meh. But, like, it looks fantastic. Did you have one?
Yes, my Miss Georgia World this week is definitely, without a question, Babushka Sugarbaker. I already was biased towards women in big sunglasses with a scarf around their head, but seeing her with that beautiful red blouse and that on top of it, I was like, this is everything. Now I want to go recreate it. I want to go do it myself. I need to go buy some big sunglasses. Like, it was everything to me. And watching her, like, slowly descend down the stairs, you even kind of got to, like, appreciate it more. You're like, oh, she actually does look kind of good in this look, right? It's actually not bad. So Babushka Sugarbaker is definitely my Miss Georgia World this week.
Oh, goodness. So tell the people out there where they can find you in the social medias.
So thanks for listening, you listeners. If you want to find us out in the social medias, I am located on Instagram at auntie-maim, M-A-I-M. That's it. Yeah, that's I can't think. Right. I'm sorry. I'm tired. And also on Facebook at auntiemaim, and you can go follow my performance page, because I do performances down here in Miami. If you're in the Miami area, you can actually see me live at my theater, Villain Theater, that I perform at. Where about you, Miss Mims? Where can they find you?
Well, you can mostly find me on Twitter at divinemissmims, because I love the tweeters. You can find the Twitter for this that we're doing right now at Mims and Maim.
Yes.
Yeah, like send us some tweets, fill up my DMs, do whatever you need to do to make yourself feel heard. We want to hear from you, our dear listeners, and from you, Ray Don Simpson.
If anybody knows anything about Ray Don Simpson and the actor, if you're an extended family, grandchild, cousin, anything, we would love to hear from you, because I want to hear what this guy was really like, because they made him seem like such a pompous dude, and I'm sure he wasn't. I'm sure he was pleasant fellows, though. If you know anybody connected to Ray Don Simpson, this is officially our SOS.
And you can also find if you want to support us, you can find, we have a Patreon.
Yeah.
Patreon!
If you want to try that out.
You know what? We will take all of the pennies you hurl at us. Just make sure they aren't in rolls. Those things hurt.
It hurts.
So that's Mims and Maim as well. Next time, girl. Next time. The next episode is Design House.
I am so excited about this one. This is one of my favorite Designing Women episodes ever. This, by the way, this is where Anthony is introduced.
Right, you're right. Okay.
This is where it starts, because the context of that is problematic. However, this is where it starts. So, I mean, it's not problematic at first, but then it becomes a kind of a problematic situation. We're not going to get into it now. We're going to talk about it next week. But thank you for listening to Baking Sugar, the Designing Women podcast. I am your co-host, Auntie Maim.
And I am the Divine Miss Mims, and we will see you or hear you or talk to you. Talk at you. We'll talk at you next time.
All right. Bye.
Bye, girl.
World. Bye, Annie.